Okay. So what we are going to be cooking today is bhindi masala, or bhindi is basically okra. It's I don't know if it's classified as a vegetable, but it's a part of a plant that has a lot of seeds inside it and that is edible. So basically, it's just a plant that you're eating, a part of a plant that is edible and fit for human consumption. Okra also has this slimy substance that it sweats out, like onions. They caramelize and they become sweet. Okra, while you cook the okra, it emits out this slimy substance that kind of looks like Spider-Man shot his web all over the vegetable. But there are ways to, make that go away in the cooking process by using certain methods. So I'll be teaching you those methods as well as how to cook this delicious dish, which goes really well with roti. It's like a really dry dish that consists of okra, and we have onions, tomatoes, and stuff all pureed. It has mint, it has coriander, it has red chili powder, turmeric, and some more coriander powder. So it's less on the spices. We're not using heavy spices like garam masala or a lot of whole spices. It's soft on your palate, but it's really delicious and nutritious. So let me introduce you to the star of our dish today, the okra. I have taken 1 kilogram of okra. I have washed. The okra has been washed while before it was cut. So as I said, the okra sweats out this sticky, slimy substance. So in order to reduce that slimy substance in your cooking, you will wash the okra when it's whole and not chopped, and then you will pat it dry with a towel and let it dry on a table or on a plate before you chop them up. So that whole process has been done. It's been washed, it's been patted dry, and then it's been cut into small pieces. So okra is like a green chili. It's long in length. You just cut them into small pieces as such. That's the size you're going for. Once you have them cut in that size, we can start with our preparation. You'll also need, this is the tomato and onion puree. I took 2 large red onions and 3 large tomatoes, put them in a blender together, and pureed them, turned them into a puree. You won't need whole chunks of onions or tomatoes, you'll just need a puree. For the powdered spices, you'll require red chili powder. You'll require 2 teaspoons of red chili powder. For turmeric, you'll require 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder. Then we'll require coriander powder, 1.5 teaspoons, and you'll require dry mango powder, a teaspoon of it. Dry mango powder also helps the okra not sweat a lot. So once the okra goes into your masala, the base of this dish, it'll basically, this dry mango powder will ensure that it doesn't continue sweating anymore. Nicely arranged whole spices. For the whole spices, you'll require uh, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of black peppercorn, 2 green cardamom, and 1.5 bay leaf. Pretty simple, right? You'll require green chilies that have been slit through the center. I have taken 5 green chilies here. You'll require mint leaves, around 25 individual mint leaves, and then you'll need coriander. Mint and coriander, I've kept them both together because they both will be going into the dish at the same time, and they're both green veggies, or rather just garnishing. Mint leaves out a really nice flavor. It's more than garnishing, but coriander, more or less, is just garnishing. But they both go in together, so both of them have been washed and kept together here. You'll need 15 to 20 mint leaves and 1 bunch of finely chopped coriander. We'll be taking a deep dish or a karai. I muted myself and I didn't unmute myself once again. And we'll be this dish requires a lot of high heat cooking, continuous high heat cooking. So a karai is preferred, or anything that you any cookware that you have at home that is deep dish and has a thick bottom, which will help the heat uh, retain and not burn the dishes that you're cooking. So I've taken a karai. I'll be taking in 6 tablespoons of oil once the karai is hot. Now you may think, goodness gracious me, Dev, 6 tablespoons of oil. But yeah, it's just, you know, you're frying a kilo of okra in this, so you'll require that much oil. Once the okra has been cooked, you won't even notice any of the oil remaining back, and it's only because I'm cooking a kilo of okra. If you're taking in a lesser amount of okra, of course, tone down on the oil yourself. Once the oil is hot, you're going to throw in your okra, the cut okra, and you'll start frying them and cooking them until basically they completely lose all their slimy sticky substance. So it takes close to 15 minutes. You need to keep stirring it. It's all on high heat, thus you need to keep stirring it. You can also use the lid of your cookware to um, leave it on high heat for 5 minutes with the lid on, let it cook, and then open it up and stir it again. The goal or the objective will be to cook the okra completely until it's like received a very, very light brown coat on its skin, and the sticky substance that it emits is would basically just be dried up and gone. Like you can see right now, it started emitting its sticky slimy substance. That's just a part of the dish, part of the plant, but you don't want it in the finished dish. When you're eating, you just want to taste the okra. You don't want the texture of something slimy in your mouth. It just may feel icky. So to get rid of that, we are just going to fry the okra with oil, nothing else. The first step of this dish will be frying the okra completely, cooking it until it stops emitting its slimy substance. I have to use the term slimy substance a lot while explaining how to cook this dish. Uh, but you can clearly see it's starting to leave out its webbing or the slimy substance, and you just need to keep stirring it. Make sure that each piece of okra gets its fair share of time on the bottom of the pan, gets into contact with the hot oil, starts frying up, starts cooking, and it'll take you 15 minutes to completely cook this through and have all the slimy substance gone. Let's listen in on our okra. It sizzles. It sizzles like when you add onions. It sizzles like when you add meat. It's just sizzling. The oil, the okra itself is leaving out moisture. All of that needs to cook, and all the slimy substance needs to disappear. Here I'm just closing my karai with its lid and letting it cook on high heat for 5 minutes, and then I'll be opening up the karai again, mixing it up well, again closing it on high heat. I'll be repeating that multiple times to cook this through. It needs to be in contact with high heat for 15 minutes. As the okra starts cooking, you'll notice that it starts shrinking, and the quantity of raw uncooked okra versus cooked okra is like, there's a major difference. Say if uncooked okra fits a complete glass, the cooked okra will shrink up and it'll fit like 1/4 of the same glass. So you'll notice that the okra begins to shrink. You'll notice some of the okra pieces beginning to get a light golden or brown coat. the skin of the okra needs to turn a very slight-ish gold or brown, and you'll already notice that the sticky or slimy substance that the okra sweats out has reduced a lot. Need to keep stirring it on high heat, need to continue cooking it for some more time. A total of 15 minutes is what I presume if you cook this continuously on high heat. If you have a smaller quantity, obviously it's done faster. Always keep an eye on your pan. Look at that. It's almost done. It's almost done. There's a lot of its sweat still stuck on my ladle, but the okra itself has stopped emitting its whatever substance that it emits. So you'll notice that the seeds have started to come out of the okra, and you'll see, oops, I just took away the camera too quick there. Let me go back on that. Once the okra has got a really nice gold coat, like you can see, it's not its bright green that it was. It started turning a bit yellow. It started getting a gold coat, and it stopped emitting its slimy substance. That's when you stop cooking it 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, and you transfer this into a bowl. You let it rest until we require it again. So you see the okra, its seeds, and you can notice the okra on top, on its skin, it's got this gold coat. It's not just green, it also has a bit of gold, a bit of yellow. So at that stage, the okra is cooked. In your kadai, you'll take in two tablespoons of oil, scrape in all the okra stuff that's left back, and you'll add in your whole spices, which is cumin, black peppercorn, bay leaf, and green cardamom. Everything that we are doing from this point in the cooking process is continuous high heat cooking. All the dishes are going to be added in a span of 30 to 60 seconds after each other. So you need to keep your heat on high. You need to keep stirring everything that you put in, and it's just a continuous 15 minutes to 20 minutes cooking process from here. Saute your spices, let it start crackling, let it start emitting its wonderful flavors, and then approximately 20 seconds to 30 seconds after you add in and saute your spices, you'll add in your green chilies. Hey, Crying Orange, hello. Welcome, hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you for stopping by, and I appreciate the look. That looks good. It's just the base. It's just the base still. We haven't yet got to finishing the dish. But our whole spices and our green chilies have gone in, and we are sauteing it. And let's listen in on this. Listen in on that crackling. Oof. Once you add in your green chilies, you're going to saute it once again for approximately 30 to 60 seconds. Until your green chilies are fried well and get a crisp texture. You'll notice that your green chilies aren't soft anymore and they're crisp. Once that's done, you're going to add in your onion and tomato puree, and once you add this in, it's going to sizzle again. Add in your onion and tomato puree, saute it for 15 to 20 seconds, let it mix in with everything, and then you're going to add in your ground spices. That sounds amazing? It does. Cooking and hearing that sizzle is one of the best things of cooking. You're going to add in your powdered spices, which is red chili powder, turmeric, coriander powder, and dry mango powder. I specified the quantity earlier, and you can use the command recipe to get the written recipe of all the dishes that I'm cooking on during these 13 days. Once you add in your ground spices, you're going to start mixing everything well. You're going to start cooking the tomato and onion puree along with the spices. This should the cooking process itself should take a long time, but you are going to saute this for 60 seconds before adding in the next ingredient. So what's going on here is continuous high heat cooking. As I have explained before, high heat cooking is very famous throughout Asia, and India is no different. You take a karai, you continuously cook ingredients on high heat, keep adding them together. Here we are adding in ginger and garlic paste, a tablespoon of that. Mix it with your base that's already cooking and saute it for around 90 seconds now. We're going to let the ginger garlic paste, the onions, the tomatoes start cooking together. Keep mixing it, keep stirring it continuously. Since it's high heat cooking, you don't want anything burning. And cooking the entire base should be done in 8 to 10 minutes on high heat. But yeah, once you add in your ginger garlic paste, stir it around. If you want to speed up the cooking process, you can put the lid on your cookware, let it cook for 5 minutes on high heat, then open your lid and stir it around. You can speed up the process that way. Bhindi is actually one of my favorites. Hey Prat, welcome. How are you doing, Prat? Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday. You're going to add in salt after 90 seconds of sauteing the ginger garlic paste. Salt is to taste, so obviously don't follow how much salt I am adding in. Add in salt as per your taste. I'm making bhindi masala here, Prat, a dry dish that'll go perfectly with chapati or roti. Once you add in your salt, you're going to saute it for 30 seconds. Just keep mixing it around, keep stirring things up. Let the salt mix in with your base. And let's hear in again on the dish. It'll be... Well, I was probably talking something while cooking, talking with my family. But I turned on my chimney, I turned on the exhaust because at this point it was emitting a lot of strong aroma that would make people cough, the spices. So I turned on my chimney and the exhaust, and yeah. Was talking about bhindi with Ran and Chris last night and how we all hate coriander. Oof. Just as you say you hate coriander, I'm adding in 25 pieces of mint leaves and one bunch of chopped coriander. It's been 30 seconds since I added salt, so I'm going to add in my mint and coriander, and I'm going to saute this entire thing for 90 seconds. Hey Ran, hello. Why do you guys hate coriander though? It's like, I don't even know if it gives any taste of its own. We use it a lot for garnishing, but I don't really know if it has a strong flavor on its own. So I was sauteing the mint and coriander for 90 seconds. You can see that it's mixed well with our base. You can't stand the taste. Once 90 seconds have passed, I'm going to add in 100 milliliters of water. This dish is going to be dry. We don't want it even to be semi-gravy. We don't want any gravy in it. So we are adding in just 100 ml of water to aid the cooking process and nothing else. Sunday is going great so far. Perfect. I can't stand the taste. It would also depend on how much you're adding in to what compared to other elements in the dish. So yeah, probably. My dad says it gets better if I just eat it once, but I've tried countless times. Never liked them too since I was a kid, and mom got annoyed by that too. Well, in my opinion, whatever dishes I cook, when I tell you to add coriander, you can easily skip them. I add coriander a very limited amount just to garnish and give the food its green color, just a bit of variation. But you can always skip coriander. Always. Whatever recipes I've told, whenever I've used coriander, it's been more for garnishing and the color more than its flavor. So yeah. I as you can see, I've added the water and I'm furiously shaking it. It's basically to get the tomatoes and the tomato onion base cooked, and it starts bubbling. So you need to watch out for that, because that bubble can splatter and hit your hand or even your face if it splatters too much. But it's high heat cooking, so keeping on stirring continuously is a requirement. I also, at this stage, I think I decide to, yeah, first take a close up, of course, but I also decide to put on the lid and cook it for a few minutes. And then once it's cooked on with the lid on, you can see a lot of the moisture is gone. The water that I added, the 100 ml of water, it's just aided in the cooking of the ingredients. Once our base is completely cooked, which should take you not more than 10 minutes on high heat, I add in all my okra. I also take out all the okra from my bowl. I am not leaving anything behind. I hate wasting ingredients that are left over in a bowl. So what I do is I grab a ladle, or I take my hand and I just push everything out. Nothing remains back in any of my prep bowls or dishes. And this was, since it was fried already, we fried it in just plain oil and got rid of its slimy substance. The oil has made it stick to my prep bowl, so I grab everything out and I start mixing the okra along with the masala that we just cooked. Everything needs to be mixed properly. You'll probably be mixing for 2 to 3 minutes to get everything mixed well together. And don't slack off while mixing. Actually put your arm into it. You need to make sure that the masala that you cooked mixes well with each individual piece of your okra. It's going to start soaking in the taste of the masala that we just cooked. And because the okra is a little sticky in nature, it's going to just absorb that masala and get the masala bits on it, on each individual piece on its own. You don't need to do a lot of effort to get the masala to stick on the actual ingredient of this dish. Like many times you have this problem with meat, the marinade doesn't stick on, or when you're frying something like even soya, for example, the spices that you put in, they don't stick on the dish. And for chicken and meat and stuff, you put a bit of corn flour, you put a big bit of egg to make sure that everything sticks together. But for this, you don't need anything. It just naturally gets the masala to stick on it. You mix it for a good 2 to 3 minutes, and you'll cover your cookware once it's done mixing. Look at that. Look at the delicious okra. Look at that amazing masala. You'll cover the lid again and let it cook together, the masala and the okra, for 4 to 5 minutes on low heat. This is when you finally turn off high heat and give your stove a bit of a rest too, because it's been cooking on high heat for 15 to 20 minutes now. You can see the steam that's being generated just by the pan on its own because of the continuous high heat cooking. So once you finish mixing it, make sure to turn down the heat. I turn down the heat right there, and I am going to put the lid on and let it cook on low heat for 5 minutes. Low heat for 5 minutes. Once that's done, I'm going to add in the juice of 1 lemon right at the end. Looks so tasty. I'm glad you say that, Prat. Especially since you have tasted this dish yourself. I'm glad that you say that it looks tasty. So the juice of 1 lemon squeezed in. I really don't bother filtering out the seeds, but if you don't like the seeds in your dish, just filter them out. Mix up that lemon that you just added. It's still cooking on low heat. You're going to mix up that lemon. Once you mix the lemon that you squeezed for approximately 30 seconds, your dish is then ready to serve. This goes extremely well with roti or chapati. It can be had as a side dish to dal and rice, and basically a side dish to anything else too.